In 2018, McKenzie Milton was on top of the college football world. He was coming off a perfect season in 2017 and finished top 10 in Heisman voting. And things were looking the exact same in 2018. UCF was 10-0, McKenzie Milton was yet again in the Heisman talks, and it looked like UCF was going to have a second consecutive perfect year. Then, on November 23rd of 2018, McKenzie Milton's life changed forever. On 3rd and 7 in the second quarter against South Florida, Milton was trying to pick up the first down. He took a hit to the right leg from a defender making the tackle. Now, based on the reactions from players and coaches around, you knew it wasn't good. Now, the initial news wasn't encouraging at all. It was announced he'd need reconstructive surgery on his right leg. Not only was there a chance he might never play football again, there was a chance McKenzie Milton might have to have his right leg amputated. Before we get to the latest on McKenzie Milton, make sure to subscribe if you're brand new to the channel and love college football. Don't forget to turn on those notifications so you never miss an upload. Now, before we get to the injury and what Milton's up to now, we're going to take it back a bit and talk about what happened leading up to the injury. Now, prior to committing to UCF, McKenzie Milton was actually committed to stay in his home state of Hawaii and play for the Rainbow Warriors. He committed to Hawaii in December of 2014 when he was only a junior in high school. While in high school, he led his team to the state championship game twice. He won the state Division I title in 2014 and was named the Gatorade State Player of the Year after throwing for 3,400 yards and 35 touchdowns. He also rushed for 800 yards and 12 touchdowns. As he entered his senior season, the only offers he had aside from Hawaii were from Air Force, Navy, and Army. Milton also said that Northern Arizona, Charleston Southern, and Oregon were keeping in touch with him as well. Now, Milton caught the Ducks' interest when he was named the quarterback MVP among 62 quarterbacks at the Oregon camp during the summer. He was also the quarterback MVP of the Boise State camp. Scott Frost, who was the offensive coordinator at Oregon, was named the head coach of the UCF Knights in December of 2015. He wanted to run an up-tempo and fast offense, and he knew exactly who he wanted to be at the helm, McKenzie Milton. Coach Frost is the one that lured me over there because he was recruiting me while he was at Oregon. He obviously coached Marcus Mariota. I just feel like he'd be a great mentor for me to grow, most of all as a person, and secondly as a player. So McKenzie Milton decided to flip his commitment from Hawaii to UCF. After some quarterback debate for the first month of the 2016 season, McKenzie Milton was officially named the starter as the team headed into their game against Connecticut on October 22nd, 2016. Now, overall, Milton struggled during his true freshman season. He completed only 58% of his passes while throwing 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. 2017, that's when he took his game to another level. He threw for over 4,000 yards, a single season record for UCF. His 37 passing touchdowns were also a UCF single season record. He was first team All AAC, the American Conference Offensive Player of the Year, and won the Archie Griffin Award. The Knights went a perfect 11-0 during the regular season. In the American Conference title game against Memphis, Milton led the Knights to a victory, winning MVP while throwing for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, while also adding 70 yards and a touchdown on the ground. UCF then took down Auburn in the Peach Bowl as Milton totaled 400 yards with 3 touchdowns en route to the offensive MVP. Now, his season didn't go unnoticed as he finished 8th in the Heisman voting. Now, as I mentioned, things were looking the exact same for the Knights in 2018. UCF won the first 9 games of the season, and yet again, they were hoping to finish the season undefeated. And yet again, Milton was having an amazing season, so he was likely going to be a Heisman finalist as well. Through the first 3/4 of the season, Milton had thrown for 2,600 yards with 24 touchdowns with only 5 interceptions. He also had 300 rushing yards with 9 rushing touchdowns. Then on November 23rd on the road against South Florida, everything changed. Here's what Milton remembers from that day. Not a lot of sound right now, not a lot of feeling in my leg. I think it was adrenaline. I was probably in shock. Next thing I know, the USF trainer is over me, and then our trainer is over me. Then our doctor is tugging on my knee, trying to pop it back in place. John Evans was praying over me, and both sidelines were clear. Coach Strong kept asking, "How are you doing?" I kept telling him, "Coach, I don't know. My leg hurts." I started feeling the pain. I felt it throbbing. They took off my shoe, cut my tape, and they were feeling for a pulse down in my leg, and I wasn't really sure why. It was kind of a surreal moment. Everything happened very fast. It was crazy, but I never panicked. Both sidelines cleared, and our guys were putting their hands on me, saying they loved me. Even the South Florida guys were doing that. I'm hesitant to use the word cool, but it was kind of a cool moment to see rival schools coming together like that. After the injury, Milton was transported to the locker room where doctors found he had no pulse in his leg. From there, he was rushed to the hospital, and a CAT scan showed that Milton had a torn artery, prompting emergency surgery to restore blood flow to the leg. And there was a very solid chance that doctors would have to amputate Milton's leg. Now, in order to save the leg, the doctors said they had to take a vein from his leg, put it into his other leg in order to make a new artery and restore blood flow to the leg. Now, when McKenzie Milton woke up from surgery, He didn't know whether or not his leg was amputated or not. He looked down and he saw it was still there. The doctors told him that 0.001% of all injuries are like the one he suffered. Usually injuries to the leg like that come from car accidents or motorcycle accidents, so it was really rare. Now, about 50% of the people that suffer injuries like that lose their leg. But with Milton, the doctors noticed the severity early on, and they were able to save it. Less than 2 months after his injury, Milton posted an Instagram video showing him working on his leg in the gym. He was doing 40-pound leg presses with the leg he nearly lost. He'd have another surgery on his leg shortly after that video was posted. With a lot to overcome, Milton decided to break down each little accomplishment into check marks. After starting weight bearings on his legs, he checked that off. After the injury, he had to take blood thinners and take shots in his stomach every day, but when he was done with all that, he checked it off. For Milton, he's always looked at the small victories like that because they will all add up eventually, inch by inch, until it all finally comes into fruition. In addition, Milton also became close with the player who caused the injury, Mozzie Wilkins. Wilkins immediately popped up after the play, putting his hands on both sides of his helmet in disbelief and walking to the USF sideline. When Wilkins turned on his phone after the game, hell awaited him. Death threats, racial slurs, vicious verbal assaults, threats against his family and friends, message after message after message. It's really stuff I don't want to repeat. I've blocked it from my mind. If it was just me, I could take it. When they bring my family in, it's different. I already had a thick skin from growing up. I'm not a soft individual. Now, just days after the surgery took place, Milton reached out to Wilkins on Instagram. Here's what he sent him. Hey Mozzie, I have no ill will towards you. Don't listen to that noise. It's just stupid. Between you and I, as long as we're good, it doesn't matter what other people say. 4 months after the injury, Milton was asked to be a part of a speaking group at the Better Man event, an annual 3-hour power-packed men's event designed to equip, encourage, and engage men to become better. Now, little did Milton know, Wilkins was invited too, and this would be the first time the two could properly meet. When you're a player, the helmet is on and you don't know the personality, Wilkins said. When the helmet comes off, you see the guy. We were in that room, it just felt like we were friends for a long time. We talked about family and fishing and nothing about football. That night was the first night that McKenzie Milton was able to walk without crutches. Though it wasn't much, it was the next obstacle he was able to overcome and check off his list. Up to that point, here's what Milton had to endure. Surgery to replace his artery, surgery to open his right leg to release pressure and fluid buildup and prevent damage to the new artery, surgery to implant a metal fixator that stretched from his thigh to his shin to keep the leg stabilized, prevent damage to his new artery, and allow his damaged nerve to begin to heal without sudden movement. Surgery 3 weeks later to remove the fixator, surgery to repair the lateral collateral ligament and the posterior cruciate ligament. McKenzie Milton's parents, most importantly his mom, have been some of the biggest supporters during his comeback. Though supportive, she is extremely worried for her son should he eventually return to the football field. I don't know if I like football anymore, his mom said. I'm scared now. It's brutal. I like the NFL better because at least they get paid to take a beating. I support what he does. I don't like it. I think it's insane. Now, Milton knows exactly how she feels. But after a year plus of rehab and many months still ahead, the goal of putting on the helmet and playing the game he's played since the 2nd grade remains strong with him. She's okay if I never play again. She's protective of her youngest son, but she's in full support. I know her and my dad get a lot of joy when I play, so that's definitely more motivation for me to get back out there. None of this has made me think, why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? I've never gotten to that point. If I'm physically not able to go at a level I want to, I won't. I feel like that would have been a disservice to myself, but I think I can get back to my old self, maybe a little better. A year after the injury, Milton stepped foot on the field at Spectrum Field for senior night in 2019. Now for Milton, this wasn't a farewell or a goodbye. He's still confident he's going to be playing football at UCF again. The dream's the same. I want to go to the NFL one day and I want to play football, and then I want to coach after that. None of that's changed, that's still the goal. As if seeing him on the field again wasn't encouraging enough, this video was tweeted by UCF on March 4th, showing Milton throwing passes while wearing his brace. It meant a lot, but at the same time, I know there's still a lot of blocks to be knocked down. Just like anything else, never get too high or too low, and just take it one day at a time. But it definitely felt good to be back out there with the boys. Obviously wasn't going full go or anything like that, but it's a blessing to be back out there with the guys, put the helmet on, and that kind of stuff. Haven't done it in so long, and it felt great. In addition, this video was posted at the end of April, showing Milton throwing passes to former Knights, Traquan Smith, Jordan Atkins, Gabriel Davis, and Dredrick Snelson Jr. Milton tore only 2 of the 4 ligaments that usually get torn when you dislocate your knee. His blood is flowing great, the nerve's coming back, and he's gonna have to work harder than he ever has, but to him, that's well worth it. Milton's gonna find out sometime in June whether or not he can play in 2020. For him, he gives the chances on playing 50-50. If he gets the green light, he can start practicing with UCF for their fall practices. The reason I set that goal is because I want to approach my rehab every day with the idea that I could be ready to go for fall camp and be a go for North Carolina in our first game. If I'm not approaching it in that way, then I feel like I've been missing days in therapy and not working as hard as I can. That's why I set that goal and hope to reach that, but if I don't, it is what it is, and I'll just keep knocking block by block. I hope that he clears me, but if he doesn't, it is what it is. It's been a long, hard process, and I've learned patience through all this. If I have to wait longer, so be it. If not, whatever he does clear me to do, I'll take that and run with it. If Milton is unable to play in 2020, he can redshirt again and have eligibility in 2021 for his 6th year, which he'll likely get. I'm gonna heal, and I'm gonna compete again at a high level.